What's going on, guys? My name is James Allen, and today, since the weather is really nice, I decided to review the pop-up shops at Union Square and give you my opinion of it as a scout. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. So for those of you who don't know, these pop-up shops at Union Square are from a company called Urban Space. And what Urban Space does is they create these public market spaces where, communities could come and gather and, feel like they're part of something. And one of the first things you notice when you walk up these pop-ups is the beauty, the wood, the color, the light, the ambiance, everything feels right. So kudos to Urban Space for that. They definitely did a great job at creating a public market. However, as a scout, one of the first things I notice is that as you walk around these pop-ups, you feel a sense of a hive. And a hive, for those of you who don't know, a hive is a collective mind. And oddly enough, within this public market, you get a sense of being part of a collective mind, and it's super cool. Now, it's not a strong collective mind. The hive doesn't feel really strong like you would at a concert, for an example, but you definitely get a sense of hiveness, I should say. Now, the second thing you also get, or I should say, the second thing I feel that as a scout you notice when you walk up within these pop-ups is that you could consider these pop-ups what I call a bump zone. And what a bump zone is, it's a place where your chances of meeting someone is very high. I shouldn't say very high, perhaps higher than normal. And why is these pop-ups a bump zone? It's a bump zone because first, there's a lot of people. First requirement for a bump zone is people. You need a lot of foot traffic, and the pop-up definitely has that. More importantly, the second reason why the pop-up shops are a good bump zone is because there's a lot of objects around to talk about, to point to. And part of meeting someone randomly is talking about an object in the environment. So the richer the environment, the more likely it is that you could meet someone. Therefore, I consider these pop-up shops a bump zone. And for those of you scouts out there, that's going to be your job at some point. William and I didn't implement it in the app yet, in the Cityscape app, but you're going to have missions as a scout, which your job is to find bump zones in a city. Now, those two things are probably the only good aspects I could see of these pop-ups. The rest, to be frank, didn't really move me. To be honest, these pop-up shops felt a little more than an outdoors mall, if you ask me. It's sort of like a mall, but outdoors. Why do I say that? Well, a mall is just a shopping center, right? People come and they look around, they look at stuff, they buy and they leave. So there's nothing warm about a mall. It's very warm, it's very cold, it's very material. And there's no sense of connection at a mall. You're here to buy, and there's usually boring music to dull out your senses. And once you're done buying, get out. So while these pop-ups are definitely an improvement from a mall, to me they're a little bit more. They're just a little better than an outdoor mall to me, because you see exactly the same thing that you would see inside a mall. You see strangers walking, looking at stuff. And there's not really a connecting theme outside of buying, and I think we've reached a point in a city where, as a community at least, we lost the sense of how to get together as people without the need to buy anything, right? We sort of lost contact with community to a point where now for people to gather, there needs to be, mercantile activity going on. One thing I want to say, and perhaps that should drive the point home a bit more, is if you walk up these pop-ups, when you walk inside them and you travel and you see all these different objects and people, you're not really going to see elements that a community have, right? You're not going to see the old timers sitting down, cracking jokes, speaking on the good old days, right? You're not going to see kids making noise. You're not going to see teenagers acting mischievous. You're just going to see people walking around, buying stuff, looking at stuff, and you don't really know what you have in common with them. Chances are you don't live in the neighborhood of Union Square, neither do they, and there's not even a communal sense, like a local sense, to establish some sort of base commonality. So in my opinion, these pop-ups are a little more than an outdoor mall. Definitely an improvement because a mall is worse. A mall is very sterile. But as a scout, I don't think they're amazing. There's definitely better things to scout out there. Anyway, for those of you who are interested in joining the scout world, don't forget to download the Cityscape app. And when you get on the world menu, be sure to choose Scout Life. This is the world of people who like to explore the city, find secret spots, find historical stuff, find architectural stuff. And the goal of the Scout Life world is not just to find and share secret spots, of course. The ultimate goal is to connect scouts with one another. That's it for this episode, guys. Keep exploring. Scout Life.